It doesn't take a genius to see that Scientology is one big lie. The last-ditch effort by a desperate man to solidify his name in history. It's been dogpiled by critics and accusers, even labeled as a cult, if not the single greatest deception ever pulled off. But despite all the bad press, celebrity catastrophes, government operations, and movies, Scientology manages to collect approximately $500 million annually, all thanks to their capitalist vision and tax-exempt status. They reach millions of people that continue to promote the founder's teachings and practices across the globe. A founder who claimed his divine religion would awaken superhuman abilities deep within the mind, turning individuals from ordinary to extraordinary. He only asks for one thing, that you sacrifice every dollar you have, course after course, years of devotion to the cause. Then, and only then, will you be a Scientologist, finally gifted with the secrets of not just science and religion, but the late founder's very own buried knowledge of our world and beyond.
Only the most dedicated are told the secrets of Level 3, in which Scientology's history of mankind is finally revealed. 75 million years ago, a tyrant named Xenu ruled the Galactic Confederation, a coalition of 76 planets. One of these planets was Tigak, which we now call Earth. The Confederation was suffering from an overpopulation problem, so Xenu had billions of people drugged and sent to Earth. He placed their paralyzed bodies around volcanoes, into which he dropped hydrogen bombs. With the bodies now blown up, only the souls, or as Hubbard calls them, Thetans, were left. So they wouldn't try to return. Xenu captured these Thetans and implanted them with ideas like religion. The souls were left disorientated and clustered together. The Thetans entered whatever human bodies they could still find. According to Hubbard, these Thetans remain in our bodies and are the source of all human woes. Scientology aims to completely clear an individual of their body Thetans.
Scientology was developed by an author named L. Ron Hubbard. This is important and is the first controversy already, as L. Ron Hubbard was an established author known for works of fiction, mostly science fiction. Over his lifetime, he published over 600 fiction pieces, including both short stories and novels, and he holds the Guinness World Record for the author with the most published works. And in 1950, we have the arrival of his book, Dianetics, The Modern Science of Mental Health. This year is crucial for Scientologists, the beginning of everything. Dianetics is focused on a technique still used today in Scientology called auditing. Either through conversation or through a machine called an e-meter, these professionals would help the patient recall past traumas and get through them or over them, removing the emotional trauma of past memories in a process called clearing. They believe that their soul, the Thetan, is immortal, and our lives are not confined to the single lifetime. They also believe we are capable of anything, even if we haven't been able to realize it yet. They do believe in a godlike figure called the Supreme Being, but its members learn about that and discover it on their own unique journeys. Words like faith and belief are often avoided in lieu of concrete terms based on science and technology. Once you are clear, meaning you've been cleansed of traumatic memories and feelings, you are able to climb the ladder to more meaningful and powerful positions. After clear comes a state called operating Thetan, or OT for short. This allows you to control the world around you, including life, energy, and matter. They can also leave their bodies, as the Thetan itself is not confined to it. There are many levels of operating Thetan, and it costs money through the auditing process to progress. But many other Hollywood types came to Scientology, able to pay for these auditing sessions that would relieve them of past traumas. But what people don't think about is that these auditing sessions, essentially counseling, covering their deepest, darkest secrets, are all kept in records. So each member of the church has a file that can be used at any time to either discredit them or blackmail them. This might be the reason that people stay in the church or don't tell the truth when asked.
I would definitely say, somebody who makes rules that thousands and thousands of people can't have children and runs a church where there's child labor, forced and coerced abortions, where people are separated from their family. If that's not evil, then what is,
29-year-old Jenna Miscavige Hill is talking about the Church of Scientology,
Well, thank you very much.
run by her own uncle, David Miscavige.
It's just a game of power and control. It strips away your individuality and your conscience and just makes you do whatever their bidding is.
For most of her life, Scientology was all Jenna Miscavige Hill had ever known. From childhood, she lived in the inner sanctum of the church. Her parents and grandparents were Scientologists, and it was where she met her husband, Dallas. Church is first.
Right, before family, before friends, especially before yourself.
And that became clear, says Jenna, from early childhood. Her parents were part of the clergy, or Sea Org as they're called, and according to Jenna, spent long periods away from their children.
From when I was 4, I started only seeing them once a week. And then from when I was 12 until I was 18, I saw my mom twice. And my dad 4 times. And the majority of those times were for less than an hour.
Well, of course, from an outsider's perspective, I'd be saying, well, why weren't your parents trying to contact you?
It's hard, like it's this whole mind control business. To see that that was a bad situation, they would have to see their whole world crumbling down.
When she was 6, Jenna was sent here, to the ranch, a Scientology boarding school just outside of Los Angeles.
It was run like a military-type school. Everything we did was very regimented. We did manual labor for 35 hours a week, and it was anything from like digging ditches for irrigation to hauling wheelbarrows full of gravel to make cactus gardens, to hauling rocks to make rock walls, to weeding for fire breakers, things like that.
And it was here that Jenna says that she signed away her heart and soul. At just 7 years of age, she signed a contract committing her to 1 billion years with the church. Did you know what you were signing?
I mean, I knew that it was 1 billion years, but it was more, and I knew that that's what my parents did, but it was more that I didn't know that I had any other option, you know?
Well, a 7-year-old signing a 1 billion-year
Yeah.
contract sounds outrageous.
Right, yeah, but it did bind me emotionally and mentally, and, you know, I wanted to be loyal and keep that contract. I never thought that I ever wouldn't.
Dallas, did you sign a 1 billion-year contract?
Yeah, when I was 18 and joined the Sea Org, I signed.
And you didn't hesitate?
No, at first I had someone yelling at my face and telling me I was evil for not signing it because I wanted to be an actor and to go off and do normal stuff. So, yeah, it took about a few months of constantly interrogating me and pressuring me and telling me that's the greatest thing in the world.
Well, regular Scientologists are allowed to have children, but members of the Sea Org are not allowed to have children.
And if you fell pregnant, what would happen?
Many people are coerced into having abortions, guilted into it, told that, well, you're not following your 1 billion-year contract, you're betraying us.
Because that's a serious allegation to make, that you're encouraged or made to think that an abortion is an appropriate action.
It is serious, but it's completely true. It's like many people, many friends of mine, I've even seen it happen in some cases. So yes, it's very serious, but it's completely the truth.
For those who broke any of the church rules, punishment could take many forms. Dallas claims it meant being locked in the basement of this building. Scientology owes much of its high profile to Hollywood and a number of its stars who have embraced the church, including Tom Cruise.
I do what I can, and I do it the way I do everything. There's nothing part of the way for me. It's just...
Cruise and David Miscavige, the church leader, are said to be close friends. But according to Dallas, who worked at the Scientology Celebrity Center, there had, at one time, been some concerns. Tom Cruise is, for many, the biggest name in the church. When you were there, Dallas, so you were aware that Nicole Kidman had some influence on how he was being viewed.
Well, yeah, when I was at the celebrity church, he wasn't around. He wasn't on services, and I was told from them that it was because Nicole Kidman was an influence on him.
And not a good one.
And not a good one.
Any thoughts of leaving were always going to be a challenge for Jenna. But the idea took seed when the church sent Jenna and Dallas to work in Australia. That was a turning point, you say, for both of you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why?
Because I had never been around non-Scientologists in my life before. So it was an interesting chance to see that, no, not everyone is a Scientologist, not everyone is in love with Scientology, and they were actually kind of normal and pretty cool. And all of a sudden you could see everything for what it was, how controlled it was.
The decision to leave the church caused Dallas and Jenna enormous heartache. They claim they were pressured to stay, with threats they would lose all contact with their families. Jenna says she considered suicide. You did stand on a ledge and tell them you would jump.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fairly extreme position to take.
That was the only option I had. I mean, they had taken everything else away from me. They'd taken away my family. They'd moved me away from my friends so many times. Now they were taking Dallas away. What else could I do? All I knew is that the church feared bad publicity.
It seems to me it still hurts you to this day.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Tough. Sorry.
It's okay.
Clearly, it was
Yeah.
a terrible time.
Yeah, I mean, there's, who knows what would have happened. That's the scary thing, is they have so much control and so much mind control over you that you just are at their whim.
God made a perfect creation. He made the first man and woman, the first marriage. The first man rebelled against God, the origin of sin. Death was the judgment, the origin of death. God killed animals and clothed Adam and Eve, the origin of clothing. First blood sacrifices are covering for their sin, the setup of the sacrificial system. God promises a savior, Genesis 3:15. We have the flood of Noah's day. Noah's Ark is a picture of Jesus. Only those who went through the one door were saved. Remember, Jesus said, I am the door. This is why we find fossils all over the earth, because of that flood. Then after the flood, as people increased on the earth, they rebelled against God again. So now a judgment at the time of the Tower of Babel, giving different languages, causing different people groups, not races. We're all one race. We shouldn't talk about different races. We all go back to Adam. We're all Adam's race, which is why God's Son steps into history, the babe in a manger, to be the God-man, to be a member of the one human race. But a perfect man to die on a cross, because death was a penalty for sin, raised from the dead, offers a free gift of salvation. One day there'll be a new heavens and a new earth to come, and we are here in history.